Okay, welcome to this class. This is day 5 of our um, 10 days front-end bootcamp. This is day 5. I have done a lot so far, but today we're going to um, go into JavaScript. And then after today's class, the next things we are going to be doing is mixing JavaScript, CSS, and HTML together. As much as time permits us, if we get to a point where we have exhausted what is in our curriculum, we can move into frameworks like React or Angular or Vue, depending, like I said at the beginning of the class, depending on our response to the teachings that are doing. Part of your response is in your assignment, doing your assignment. I'm not going to, your assignments will not be graded, but it will motivate me to know whether we should move on or we should stop or I should slow down. So if we feel that I'm too fast, if I'm not catching up, it means I'll slow down and then we take it one step at a time. So please call my attention if there's a need. Today we are going to kickstart JavaScript. We have done HTML, we have done CSS. Now we're going to do JavaScript. But not just only JavaScript. In this JavaScript we are going to learn, we're going to use JavaScript not on its own, not as a server-side, so to say, language, but as a language that can be integrated with HTML and CSS. So let's start. Okay, I've created a new folder called JavaScript JS tutorial. So I'll just open it in VS Code. So that's okay. I'm going to lower some of this thing. So I have my code.vs code. I have created a folder, and because I've created a folder, um, I'm going to create a new file. But before I create that new file, let me list what we are going to do. Text. Let me state it as outline.interest. So I'm going to state these are the things we're going to do in today's class. We're going to talk about briefly is what is JavaScript. That's the first thing we're going to talk on. What is JavaScript? Briefly, what is JavaScript? Then we also talk about how to include JavaScript in HTML. 3, we'll talk about basic syntax, basic syntax of JavaScript, a basic JavaScript syntax, whatever we want to call it. Then we'll talk about how to use the console and for debugging. And we'll also talk about variables in JavaScript. Talk about data types briefly as we can. We'll talk about operators. As much as time permits us, we'll talk about conditional statements, We'll talk about loop. We talk about function. So as many of them that we can work on. So this is what we're going to work on. The first one, let's move straight to the first one. So without saying much things, these are the things that JavaScript can do. JavaScript can do three things. JavaScript can do, let's take it one after the other. Verify what is JavaScript. Now, when we say what is JavaScript or what can JavaScript do, that's what we're trying to say. What can JavaScript do? The summary of what JavaScript can do is what is called interactivity. Interactivity. Let's add the people that are just joining. That's supposed to be interactivity. And in this interactivity, we can see many things. One is it has the ability to respond to users. User action, such as clicks, typing. It has that ability. Secondly, it has the ability to update content dynamically. Thirdly, it has the ability to validate forms, which we are going to, if we finish this one, maybe in our next class, we will style forms and validate them. The next one is it has the power, it powers animations, and games. So these are the things that the summary of the things that JavaScript can do. Then our content, how do you include JavaScript in HTML? Let's go to that. We can include JavaScript in HTML in two ways. One, JavaScript can be included in two ways. One is internal. When you do the internal, your code is enclosed in script, which we are going to practice after now. Then the second one is external. External. Your code is written at the head, but with the script and with the source. So assuming the name is script.js, you have something like this. So we're going to practice this form. So I think JavaScript can be included in HTML in these two ways, internal or external. So whatever you're going to write and the code goes there. For this one, the code goes into a file named javascript dot script.js. So basic syntax of JavaScript, basic syntax of JavaScript, basic syntax of JavaScript. If we are looking at the basic syntax of JavaScript, basic syntax of JavaScript. One thing you need to know is that JavaScript statements and the semicolon. Then two, JavaScript is case sensitive. Sensitive in that John Ortega and John Ortega are not seen as the same thing in JavaScript. Then codes that will be together are put in blocks. They use blocks. This is what we mean by block, or we call it coiling grid. Put it in coiling grid. So we are going to test some of these things that we have talked about. We're going to test them, and then we are also going to talk about them one after the other. But for now, let's create a JavaScript, um, um, a page where we are going to include um, JavaScript, where our JavaScript is going to function. And then we talk about debugging in console. Then we talk about, we start the code to write the other stuff that we need to write. Okay, so you can do it in two ways. Either you create, let's create a HTML page, and then we include JavaScript in it. So I'll say index.html. Index.html. Let's put the basic things that we should have in an HTML page. Header, okay, sorry, HTML, the field language, English, Windows as MS for now. The head, but so we are saying if I want to display something, I want to run something with JavaScript, I can create something as simple as something like this at a button. Say on click, alert, hello. But if we have done this, we can go back to our folder and check alert hello written. So this is one simple way to add JavaScript to your page. Alert hello written. So we are trying to practicalize them. So this one is inline. This is one way of adding JavaScript. We can also add JavaScript at the head, just like I said. Add it at the head, you can add it anywhere. Okay, this particular one, let's put it in the body. You can add it in the body, you can add it in the head. So console dot log. It's something like internal JS. Remember, and like this. Okay. So because you want to use it in console, you will not see. So you can press Control. If you are on Windows, you can press Control plus Shift plus J. So you see it here, internal JS loader. Internal JS loader. If you are on Mac, you press. Let me write it out. If you are on Windows, you press Control plus Shift plus J. If you are on Mac, this is for Windows. If you are on Mac, you press Command plus Options plus J. If you are on Mac. Okay. To access the console. There are other ways you can access the console. Let me close it. If you want to go by clicking, you go down and look for more options. And you see developer tools, then you see console. So that's another way to debug in console. To check things in console from JavaScript. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, there's no question, so we'll continue. So we have been able to talk about the things that JavaScript can do. You have to include it in HTML. I've talked about the basic syntax. We're just practicing some of these things that we have talked about. So I've also talked about how to use the console for debugging. Where when you write something, you should be able to check it whether it is working in the console before using it for another thing. Another way you can add something. I can decide to do a different thing now that will lead us into variables. The let name equals to um, Abraham. Let's name be equals to, let me use a local name. Let's let's name be equals to 1 2. Not a local name. Let's use our name equals to 1 2. Then underscore and semicolon and console dot log. I dash name. So let's go back to you see it here. Hi, Moses. So we're going to use this all these things to implement one thing or the other at the beginning, at the towards the end. There are some other things you can see console dot log. Let's see what this will give us. So every statement ends with a semicolon. So please don't forget that. So whatever is in that place is what will be displayed in the console. So that also leads me to variables. You can see that we are moving fast. If we go back to our outline, we have talked about these three. Then so let's talk about variables. Let's talk about um okay. Um I will I will explain variable as I'm talking about data type. I think we should just put all of them together. Data types. So for data types in I can always say, why are we talking about data types? The data type, the JavaScript is a full-blown programming language. You can see when we listed what you can use it for. But it's just that in this series, our main focus is to use it for front-end development. And so we are looking at data types generally, but that's all the data types that are in JavaScript. That's what we want to look at. So data types are ways you can present data and they will stay and you can use them. So every programming language have data type. And so we want to talk about them. If you check the code I wrote, here, you see that we said let name be equal to 1 2, which means in this case, this is a keyword, let, this is a variable, and the variable is holding once the variables are temporary memory space, So and then we can use them to hold things for some time. And these data types determines the kind of variable, the kind of value that will be stored in a variable. And JavaScript is weakly typed. It's not strictly typed in the sense that in some programming languages, if you want to do this, you may see something like int at the back or int at the front of the variable name, telling you specifically that it must be that. But the value you give to a variable will determine its data type in JavaScript. So therefore, we have the following data types in JavaScript. We have a string. String is a kind of a text form, and you enclose it in a, a, a double quote, then close it with double quote. Then we also have number. Number is in form of 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we also have Boolean. Boolean comes in form of true or false. We also have array. Array comes in this form. We also have object. An object comes in the form of key and value pairs. Value, and location. Then we have none on the time. All these are data types in JavaScript. All these are data types in JavaScript. In our code, there's something else we did where we added a plus. In the real sense, this plus is supposed to do addition, but we use it for what is called concatenation. We use it to bring two strings together. So we have different operators. We're talking about operators now. We have different operators in JavaScript. We have different operators in JavaScript. We have the plus. This is for addition. We have the minus, which is for subtraction. We have the asterisk, which is for multiplication. We have the backward slash, which is for division. We have the percentage here called modulus, to find the remainder. We have greater than. We have the less than. We have the equal to. Of which all these things can be implemented. You can try it out. If you say, let x be equal to 10, comma y is equal to 5. X plus y give us the answer. X minus y give us the answer. X times y give us the answer. X divided by y, the answer. X modulus y, the answer. X greater than y, answer. X equivalent to y, give us the answer. So if we Yeah, okay. Okay. Mm. Let's put it in control. And I have not started talking about room. Console. Yeah. X. Yes, right. X plus Y is 15. Let's just try another one. X. 4. So X is, both of them are numbers. Both of them are numbers, but both are not equal. One is 10, one is 5. That's why it's saying 4. Okay. For those of you that got lost, when did you get lost? What was the last thing I was saying? My screen went off. When did you, what was the last thing you saw on the screen that I was doing?
So I think is that x is equivalent to y.
Okay. Okay. So see what we have been able to use it for. X, X is equivalent to Y, and then we said it is, we said it is, we said it is false. Okay. So all this that we're doing is just to introduce us to the possibilities and the things that we have in JavaScript. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? I've talked about what is JavaScript, how you can include it in HTML. Okay, the only one we have talked about is how you can include it in HTML using the internal. I've talked about the internal. I've used it and I've been using it. So as time goes on, we'll also use the external. So in this place, we have used the internal inside of the HTML. Okay, so if there's no question, we move straight to conditional. That's if else statement. These are ways you can use to make decisions in JavaScript or in any programming language. For JavaScript, we have the if, else, we have the switch. So let's try the two of them and see what it will give to us. So we go back to our console. Inside the switch, we can say um, score. We can say let score be equal to 60. So we go down and say if score condition, if the condition, if score is greater than 90, we should give something. So we say console of log to print. Okay, let's use the normal scaling that we know to print a. Then else, if condition again, score is greater than or equal to 60. What is the condition? If you go to console.log and give us the B. So else, if score is greater than or equal to 50, console log and we have the C. Else, else, assuming we are in medical school, else console log fail. Because B in medical school is failure. So let's assume that that is what we have, and let's go and check. So we had a B because score is 60. Score is 60, and so we have a B. So let's assume score is 50. I'll go back and try. Then we say the grade is C. Okay. So this is a simple way of writing conditionals, of writing an if statement in JavaScript. And this is going to be very handy when we are doing form validation. So any question in this? Any question on this? Please ask me a question. Any question on this? Okay. If there's no question, we continue. There's also switch. There's also switch there's also switch. So we can say let food be equal to red. Let food be equal to red. Yeah, this is how switch work. In switch, remember, you can have many other even though it's not necessary, just to separate what we are in practice that we are doing. So for switch, I'll go and type switch. That's the first thing that is expected of you. Switch. I will put the condition, then you start talking about. So depending on what you are doing, you can either use switch or use if. So but it goes with the case. So let's change it so that we'll get the proper response. Is apple colon console dot log control dot log. Control dot log. So you can say if it is apple, maybe you like the apple to be either green or red. So let's try, let's say it is green. Let's say it is green. And then you add break. So remember, each statement ends with a semicolon. We said that at the beginning of the course. Maybe let's take banana. Also, a log. Yeah, is a break. Yes. This other fruits. Yeah. So log unknown. Uh, Sorry. Then we can do the last but not the least before the last one. Okay. Do the last but not the least before. And so, verb and noun. Okay, so we're going to test now. Now it's showing unknown. Can you tell me the reason why it is showing unknown? Can I get somebody to answer us why it is showing unknown? Why is it showing unknown? Why is it that we're getting the unknown answer instead of see our code and we're getting answer to the unknown? Anybody can help out?
Sir, because you didn't include break.
Break where?
In unknown. After unknown, you did not add break.
Okay. Any other person? Okay. Yeah. So starting from the person that asked the question, in the way switch is structured, at the default, you don't put break. Now, this is how switch works. Before I will explain why it is showing like that. When you start, you put the condition that you want it to work with. You put the condition, then you put case. So each case is the likely thing that is supposed to appear. Now, the case that we did here is apple, not apples. So there is no case like apples. That's why it is doing unknown. So that tells you that if it doesn't find the answer that it's looking for along these cases, it will just go straight and answer the default. But assuming it gets the answer that it's looking for, let's assume I change it to apple now, and it gets to this place. After displaying this, it will not stop the whole process. That is the essence of the break. That's for each case, there's going to be a break. But for the default, which is he didn't see the answer at all he's looking for, and so it will just display that one and end it. So the default kind of came in with an inbuilt break. Does that explain it to us?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So these are the two ways you can do conditional in JavaScript. So for now, just take it little by little. As we go on, they are going to be complicated but these are the foundation of whatever we're going to do. So, but as we move on, we're going to be adding things. We're going to be using them in different forms. So when you see me using an if statement to validate the form or using a switch to do one thing or the other, you know that you know how to use them from the beginning. If there's a condition that must be met, if that condition is met, whatever is inside this two coiling blades will be attended to. If the other condition else, if another condition, if the first condition is not met, the second condition is met, if we work on whatever is inside. In the case of switch, you also talk about condition, but the condition is checked based on the cases that you are put on. So you checked it in this case, it's not there. It's like a policeman that is doing investigation. and you're trying to check the pattern of a serial killer or somebody, or a forensic investigator that is trying to check one pattern or the other. So that is what switch is doing. It's trying to confirm whether this thing is there. Or if I do iPhone and it will check and say, no, there's nothing like that here. So it will go and do the first. But if there's something after doing it, it will break immediately. If you don't put the break, it is going to result in an error. It's going to result in an error. So you don't want to do that if you are using speed. Now, the next thing we are going to talk about is, I'm just going to keep using here. I will explain all the things that we needed to explain scripts. Okay. The next thing we are going to talk about is loops. You know, loops are for repetitive tasks, something you need to repeat over and over and over and over and over again. Let's check our outline to know where we are. Loops. Loops. So for repetition, for repeating a task, for doing something over and over and over again. So we're going to try to do something like that. And there are so many types of loops. One of them is the for loop. One of them is the for loop. So how does the for loop work? It says for, to declare the variable, let I be equal to 0, semicolon, I is less than 5, because you want it to do 5 times. Then we put the increment I plus plus. And do console of log. Fast. So you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will not print the last because you say I is less than 5, which means 5 is not inclusive. I will start from 0. You say it's got 0, and it will count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will not touch 5. So you keep increasing. So this is the basic way that the for loop works. Another loop that you have that you can use to work on this situation is the while loop. So let's see how this same code can be implemented in the while loop. For while loop, we say let I be equal to 0. So while I is less than 5, do the following. Console dot log I. Sorry, I forgot the semicolon here. Console dot log I plus plus. I see that it gives you the same thing. Started again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you must be careful while you're using while loop. You put something, but be careful not to put a condition that will not be fulfilled. To put a condition that can be easily fulfilled while dealing with uh, while loop. Okay. So, last but not the least, we'll talk about function, and then we'll end today's class so that everybody will relax. And then when we come next time, we now use some of these things and implement them. We'll start with a form validation. We start with creating a form to validate the form. Any questions so far? Because I want to move into function. Any question? Any question? Okay, so if there's no question, let's continue. So to display or to show a function, to do function, use the word or to create for sorry. First of all, you create a function or you define a function. To define a function, use the keyword function, name of the function, or in small letter. You want to call the function to gifts, but you want to pass the parameter name, going to give the persons that their names are there. Control log. Hello. Name. Now, after defining the function, there's a need to call the function. A function is a set of code that you can use to function is a set of code that you can use to do one thing or the other. So we need to call it. How do we call a function? Just write the name of the function and pass whatever argument that you need to pass. So this is a simple greeting function. And if you say hello, whatever name you have put there. So let's check. Confirm error console is not defined. You see why it is good to also test your work at the production level and at the development level. It's under control, the debug under control. So there's an error that is detected. Let's go and check why it's still okay. So let's check again. Hello at that because we have called the function. You can also create a function that is not displaying it inside the cell, but is bringing it out for you to use. So in that case, we say that the function has return value. We can edit this one to behave that way, but let's do another one. So I can create a function that adds two numbers. Create a function that adds two numbers. Let's call it C and B. And do a return of B. Then I do let result equal to add 10,7, 20,7. Then it comes to dot log. If we check this, yeah, we are 27. Yeah, 27. Okay. Any question? Any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Luana, Leona, you never asked me question for this class before. So you are understanding everything you are saying.
So far, yes, sir.
Okay. It's all right. So I think we should end the class here today. Let's digest what we have talked about. And then in our next class, um, it's going to be as very long as the one we had yesterday. So we have a lot of work to do, and we have a lot of work for us. So come prepared. See you guys. Today is Friday. Um, I'm not sure we'll have a class. No, let me end this one first.